Release the Kraken!
Okay, we are back. I'm going to dive right in and start sculpting the model. So I have this. I'm going to add something onto the boots here. Ooh, there we go. Let's see. It would be kind of neat. Maybe a buckle. It's not going to make any sense, but it'll just kind of be kind of cool looking. So grab my sculpt brush. I'm going to go page up to my level 4. Just to have a little bit more resolution here. W to bring my wireframe on. Alright, let's get this buckle. It would look a lot better if I were to use a stamp and kind of carve it in, but this will work. And I'm going to have the strap go around the boot, so it just makes sense to have the little piece go this way. Yeah, whatever accessories you want. And my wax brush. Change the size of it. And it's okay if some of the leather overlaps the strap here, or the metal. I'm going to go ahead and smooth some of that down. And bring up some of the material in the center to make it look like there's actually, a piece of a strap in here. And don't be afraid to experiment with different brushes. See what kind of effects you can get. The more you play around, the better you'll get. Maybe the top and the bottom of the boot, and then call it for the day. So from like a distance, you can easily see, those features. One of the things I like about ZBrush is being able to really get in here for those finer details. I'm not a big Mudbox user, so some of this stuff, I go, huh. Like in ZBrush, I would mask a lot of this out and then do like an extrusion Or I might add this on as a separate object to get this crease, so I wouldn't have to do this. Mudbox doesn't let you really do that sort of thing. But every tool has its advantage. The nice thing about Mudbox is it has a direct pipeline into Maya, so you can jump back and forth between the two tools very quickly. And a couple of things to kind of sell this, you know, maybe have a dent, oops, make my brush a little bit smaller and do like a little indent. I'm going to go up in subdivision, so page up or shift D. I already have them, so I'm just going to go hit page up. But if you don't have them, shift D, and you can go up to the next subdivision level. So now in here, I can really work in, you know, those holes. Okay, that's going to be good enough. Let's go ahead and do the hair real quick. Because that one, actually let me save before I do the hair. Just save over scene. I'm going to lock the body. I'll unlock the hair. And now I can sculpt on the hair. Well, let's see, the mesh we're trying to sculpt is too coarse for the brush size that I have. Good to know, right? So that just means I have to go up in subdivision, so shift D. And then check the hair. Okay, and shift D one more. Now for the hair, oh, that's so weird. That's better. So what I did there is I selected the hair piece, and then I pressed F to frame up. That way my camera will turn around the hair. To deselect that highlight, just toggle the little eyeball button here, and then it'll deselect. And now I can kind of sculpt onto it the actual hair pattern. So there's no real magic to this. You can use, you know, any one of these brushes here. You can use a stencil, use one of these shapes here, or any of them, or you can use your sculpt tool and just kind of sculpt on the general shape, which is what I'm going to do. You can also create like a hair brush and then pull that on. So if you're using like a stencil or a stamp, in this case, I'm going to grab this one. Make my brush size big enough. Let me get my strength. Do that as like a 5. You can see I can get various shapes. Now this isn't fine enough, so I'm going to go ahead and do Shift D. I'll go up to a couple subdivision levels to get to my 4th. And if I carve this on, let's drop that down to like 0.5. There we go. Nothing too fancy. I'm just going to paint it on. Now hair actually does follow a bit of a pattern, and I'm not adhering to that. But typically, if you do hair, like as a stroke, the next stroke should kind of cover that. And there should be a consistent pattern, so you wouldn't have hair going in every which way. I mean, you can if you want like a messy sort of hairdo, but most people don't have a hairdo that way. It's usually brushed back or to a side or whatever. So you want to make sure that your strokes match. So like this coming over and then this hair kind of going that way, that sudden change is not natural. So I want to go back over that and make sure that I adjust. And I will go over and smooth occasionally to make sure that the pattern is consistent. And my guy kind of parts his hair in the middle, so it's okay. Now you'll notice if you have symmetry on, when you go to do it in the middle, you get this crisscrossing. If you don't want that crisscrossing, turn symmetry off. Just be aware that if you turn symmetry off, you cannot have it back on again. So any areas that you make that are not symmetrical will no longer be symmetrical. Okay. Usually that's like a last step. You do that at the very end when you're comfortable with how everything looks. But I'm going to go ahead and just do these. Sideburns tend to go down. And then this stuff can be brushed back. You can see I'm getting some of that very like mirrored crisscrossing here. I'm gonna have to change that in a little bit. And then down here toward the back, hair tends to layer. So I'm gonna actually do in reverse. Instead of going down, I'm gonna go up. So I'm gonna bring the hair up this way. And then the next layer is gonna start here. It's gonna feather upward. That way it looks like the hairs are kind of stacking. And then this way I'll come over. Not perfect, but not terrible. It'll suit the needs that we have here. Get these under here. It would have been better to start that way, but I didn't. I'll do these on the braid. Now braided hair tends to sort of swirl. So if you want to add that on, you're more than welcome to. You'll probably have to turn symmetry off. I am not going to do a braid the correct way because that takes time. But this should work. Okay, I'm going to turn my stamp off. I'm going to add the collar, or the little sleeve that you would use to tie the hair, so a little hair tie. So adjust my brush size. I'm going to smooth the area that I'm going to make. I'm going to sculpt the band shape on. I'm going to turn the body off so I can get under here. Let's sculpt this piece on. You can take my flatten brush. And actually, you can do this however you like. You can make this rigid or whatever. But I think it would look a lot like the hair. So I'm going to make it look more flat. So I'll use my flatten brush. Make a bit of a collar. Then I can take my sculpt brush. Now my brush size down. Hold Control. I can kind of push in. You know, another advantage to using ZBrush over Mudbox, yeah, I'm a ZBrush fanboy, sorry, is the ability to create. You don't really have the ability to make anything in Mudbox. You have to do everything from pre-made shapes. So like, we made our character in Maya and we moved it over so we could do some sculpting on it. If you were to do this in ZBrush, you could build the whole model there. Okay. So there's that collar. And I was going to add others onto here, but for the sake of time, I won't do that in this video. I'll just probably do in between. You've seen how to do one, so you can do more. But I will grab my brush, and I will get my hair back. And in here, we'll do some sculpting. Go ahead and add those. Oops. Add those finer details back in. It's not so important under here, we won't really even see it. But I'm OCD. Okay, getting a bit choppy, I'll go ahead and save it. Alright, and then for the hood, let's go ahead and lock the hair. And I'll actually turn the hair off. That way it's out of the way. And I'll select the hood, poke the eye, turn it back on. And I'll unlock it. I'll Shift D a couple times so that I can get some sculpting detail. So level 3 is probably good enough. All I'm going to do is push in to make that pocket. So I grab my sculpt brush, I'll turn these little ridges off, turn off my stamp, make my brush big enough, I'll hold down the control key and kind of push inward on the hood. Right, and then like up here, I can push in on this, so it looks like it's folded. And it's okay if that folds in because that kind of wraps around the collar. And you can adjust this however you like, you know, move this over here and line it up better if you want to. And I think that'll work. Let me turn the body off real quick, because we're never actually going to see this part. Go ahead and save it. In the next video, we're going to start painting, and I will see you then.